What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of The Jump. Little early upload this week because the conference tournaments are already going on, but the big Power 6 conference tournaments will be starting. I think one might start Tuesday. For the SEC, it starts Wednesday. So I wanted to get this out before that, kind of give my predictions for who I think will win that for each conference. So, with that being said, let's just get straight into it. College basketball, we will start on the women's side of things. The women's SEC championship brought us more outside of basketball than any game the entire year. So we had number 1, South Carolina versus number 2, LSU, in the conference. I think South Carolina's obviously still 1. I think LSU might be top 15. South Carolina won 79-72, but this was the most dramatic game I've probably watched the whole year. There was an insane fight with a minute or two left. I don't remember the exact time. But it was Malaysia Fulali that stole the ball, I think, from Flau'jae Johnson. Flau'jae Johnson fouled, and then the Carbello, or I can't remember. I'm failing to remember her name. The big girl for South Carolina, their center, their dominant force. She just comes up and shoves Flau'jae Johnson down to the ground in a crazy fashion. So then both teams were riled up, fighting. I don't know if there were punches thrown, but it's physical. Then all of a sudden, you see this dude jump out of the stands with a backwards LA Dodgers hat. Turns out that's Flau'jae's brother. He jumped out of the second row of the stands, jumped over the scorer's table, and then the cops had to come and get him off. But he got charged with assault and battery and disorderly conduct. So he got arrested. This game ended up ending in 5-on-5. One thing that I thought was interesting was there's a clip of where somebody just videoed Angel Reese during this, and she saw it happen, and I think it's honestly smart on her part because she would have been tossed. She saw it happen and just walked off the other way. It wasn't that she's not going to help her teammates out. I think it's just she knows what the consequences are if she was to get involved in that. So I think she played it smart. So both teams ended up with 5 players. Benches got thrown out. Everything. It was crazy. It was wild. This game was so crazy. And then another women's game, number 2 Iowa versus number 5 Nebraska in the Big Ten tournament. That was their standings. Iowa won 94-89 in OT. Nebraska was hooping, but Caitlin Clark just took over. She had the game-winning 3 in overtime, and then the game-winning steal in overtime. And this was a three-peat for Iowa. So this was their third straight. And then Caitlin Clark had an iconic picture where she remade the Kobe Bryant thing. I think it's kind of played out, but that one was hard. That one was tough. So I'll try to throw that on the screen for you guys. But yeah, Caitlin Clark, she literally just took over this game to on both ends. It was crazy. It was wild. So yeah, y'all need to check that out. Watch the highlights from that one because she was hooping. I think she only ended up with 28, but she had 4 at half. So that was what the crazy part of that was. On the men's side, Arch Madness delivers the MVC tournament. Drake ended up winning it, beating out Indiana State. But we need to get Indiana State in the tournament. I know they've had Robbie Avila blow up. Yeah, he's a college basketball icon. He's a star. But they're 28-6 right now. They're a really good team, and I think they deserve to be in. This isn't even just a hype thing. Just get Robbie in. They are good. They just need to be in. So Drake, obviously, they'll be up there. And then I saw that Drake is 3rd in all of men's basketball for the most wins in the last 3 years or something. It's some crazy stat that they have that I found out during that game. It was crazy. But for this past weekend, Saturday, my Cats went to Tennessee, where we're trying to get our league back. They beat us in Rupp earlier in the year by scoring over 100 and just dominating us the whole game. We won 85-81, but Dalton Connect had 40. That man is a hooper. Yes, he shot 29 shots, but he made 14 of them. So I think in the first half I was a little heated because he was getting a lot of calls that were, you could say, soft. But this brother was hooping. And if it wasn't for him, this is a 25-point loss for the Vols. So shout out to Dalton Connect, which he ended up winning Player of the Year, or SEC Player of the Year. So, yeah, he had 4 rebounds to go with that. Like, he was just balling. 40 points. He's in their history books now. But I do want to mention the end of the game collapse. It's been long enough. That was almost ridiculous. We've had 2 games now, the Mississippi State game and that one, where it should have been sealed, done, got out of there, 10-point win. We about sold so bad. There was Antonio Reeves where he had, it was an awkward pass. He ended up picking it up, couldn't dribble, and we couldn't get across. Rob had a turnover. DJ had a turnover, I think, under the basket. It was bad. It was really bad. So we tried to sell there, but we ended up getting the win there. So Reed Shepherd, though, in this game was balling. 27 points. He was 9 for 14 from the field, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. And honestly, the play of the game for me, we were up 3. It was in the second half. He had jumped the pass from Connect to Ziegler. He jumped it, tipped it, went and got it, and then just pulled up in transition, hit the 3. And I'm pretty sure they called a timeout right after that. The momentum was just swung at that point. Like, it was ours. So he was hooping. And in the result of him balling like that, and the way he's been playing the past couple weeks, Ringers, it's a website, a company. They release a mock draft. I think it's weekly. And they released one this morning. So Monday, so when you all were watching this yesterday, they released a new mock draft, and Reed Shepherd was number 1 to the Spurs. It's crazy. This guy was talked about whether or not he would be able to find the floor as a freshman at Kentucky, and here he is projected number 1. It's so crazy. There's all the talks about it, like maybe he'll return, maybe he'll retire, I don't know. If he's going number 1, there's no way. There is no way in his right mind he would come back from being a number 1 pick. But I don't know. Then they also had Rob at 8, so I guess the Tennessee game, I think he had 11, but he showed that he's actually human. So maybe that was part of it. But one note that I had from this game: there were 0 points from our front court, which is crazy. We scored 85 on the road against the top 5 team, and won with 0 points from our bigs. So Adu, Trey, Ugana, Aaron Bradshaw, and Big Z all had 0. If you would have told me that going into this game, I would have thought we lost by 30. But got out of there with the W. And we possibly ruined Tennessee's chance of being a number 1 seed. But Arizona sold. So they played at USC that night after our game, and they ended up losing at USC. And Arizona's the team that, with us beating Tennessee, it looked like Arizona was going to take that spot there. So Tennessee still has a chance at a 1 seed for the first time in school history. So I think it would be cool, especially for Dalton Connect's legacy. He's been so fun to watch. I hate it because I hate that he's wearing that uniform. But when it's good basketball, when it's fun basketball like what he's playing, it's easy to watch no matter what he's wearing. So I think it'd be cool for his legacy to be on the team that got their first 1 seed. But I tweeted it after the game, Jordan Gainey's going to have to step up if they want to make a run in March. He was literally brought in to be a Dalton Connect sidekick. Both of them dudes just get buckets. He was shooting 45-50% from 3 at USC Upstate. He transfers over to Tennessee, and he's just bad. Like Vescovy last year, he did a whole lot of scoring. This year it feels like he's just terrified to shoot the ball. And Ziegler, he had 26 against us the first time, but I don't know if it was a sustainable 26. It was just the way that he scored them wasn't necessarily impressive. Somebody else is gonna have to step up for Tennessee if they want to make a run in March, because that is the recipe for getting upset in the first or second round, is having one dude that can hoop and nobody else can score. I think Josiah Jordan-James maybe had 8-10 points. I don't even know what he ended up with, but it was wild. But yeah, this game was Reed Shepherd, Antonio Reeves, which Antonio Reeves, he scored 27. He's now averaging the most points per game by any player under Calipari at Kentucky. So he's just ridiculous. This was just Reed Shepherd, Antonio Reeves, Justin Edwards. Those 3 combined for 90% of our points. It was crazy. And then after the game, later that night, at halftime of his overtime elite game, Carter Knox commits to Kentucky, the little brother of Kevin Knox. And, I'm not really going to share my thoughts on his recruitment and stuff, but we weren't expected to really get him. I know some crystal balls had us getting him, but but like he was signed to Adidas, so like people thought that would end it. And it was like a cherry on top, like just the best possible day as a Kentucky fan. At the same time as our game, which is stupid because they shouldn't have scheduled at the same time. Number 14 Kansas traveled to number 1 Houston. I told y'all, Houston, there was no world where they didn't dominate this game. Houston won 76-46. Yeah, it was just dominance from start to finish for Houston. Hunter Dickinson got injured in it. It was something with his shoulder. I think they said he avoided a major injury, but Bill Self said today, he announced that Hunter Dickinson and Kevin McCullough will not be in the Big 12 tournament this week. So that's a huge note. So I think that kind of takes away their chances because they were all their starting unit anyways. But he did say that they'll be good and ready to go for like March Madness, but missing the tournament, that's tough for Kansas. Then we had the second game of the Carolina Duke, number 7 North Carolina at number 9 Duke. North Carolina won 84-79. They tried to sell at the end of the game just like we did, but UNC just got hot out the gate. They went up like 30-13 or something. Like they were dominant right off bat. And then Duke kind of evened it out, and they were able to battle there. Kyle Filipowski, he tripped Harrison Ingram. And he tried to say that he didn't. I don't. He's easily become extremely hateable. He wasn't hateable at all last year. And then this year, between the court storming thing and now this, like, it's ridiculous. This dude, I don't know. Kyle Filipowski is ridiculous, though. He just blatantly trips Harrison Ingram. And, yeah, like it's just Grayson Allen all over again in a different form. But he said he's accepted the villain role, so I think it's awesome, though. Duke's just hateable again. Like, the past couple of years, it's been hard to hate those guys, so they're easy to hate again. But Cormac Ryan was the story of this game. 31 points from the, I would say young man, but he's like 25. 31 points from Cormac Ryan, 8 for 12 from the field, 6 for 8 from 3. And he hit daggers. I saw somebody tweet out, like, it's awesome to see the most Duke-like player shine at Duke when he's wearing a different uniform or something like that. Which is true. Cormac Ryan, if he was wearing a Duke uniform, everybody in the country would hate his guts. But I love him. I love Cormac Ryan to death, man. He's fun to watch. And I'm just so happy that I'm so happy they ended up getting Harrison Ingram and Cormac Ryan. I wanted Harrison Ingram to go to Kentucky, but he committed to UNC, and I think it was John Rothstein that tweeted, like, these guys weren't like hitting doubles or triples. These were both home runs, grand slam hits. Like, both of those guys were phenomenal. And then after the game, they do what the most correct thing to do in Cameron Indoor is: go straight to the student section as soon as you win and just taunt them. And the Cameron Crazies reacted. They threw water bottles at them, tried to throw a whole bunch of stuff at them. I would play the video, but there's a whole lot of language that I can't bleep out, and I'm not putting that in the podcast. So, yeah, you can do your own research on that. But, yeah, it was awesome. And North Carolina, ACC regular season champions, 1 year after missing the tournament. It's their first outright champion, regular season champion since 2017. So they're officially back. For the Power 6 tournament brackets, I'll throw up a picture of all of those on the screen. I'll just probably throw like the March Madness theme song behind them and play those 6 right now. So some NFL stuff. The day of me recording this episode is the day that free agency opened. So a couple days ago, when you all are watching this, there was a couple moves, but the day that I'm filming this, there's a whole bunch of them. So I'm going to read through a lot of these names. You might have to go back because I'm just going to read them all throughout right here on this list. So first of all, David Bakhtiari, released by the Packers. I think it was a 12-year career, 5-time All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowler, or something like that. legend. And the most infamous picture of his career happened in this past season, where his last season with the Packers happened. So, like, he flicked off the Bears fans or something. Legend, though. Love David Bakhtiari. Then, also from the Packers, they release Aaron Jones. I think that dude was probably just asking for a bag. He had to be asking for so much that they didn't bring him back because he had a solid year. So, I don't know. Those two big moves. But then, the Packers sign Josh Jacobs. So, I love that move. Then you get Austin Eckler to the Commanders, Brian Burns to the Giants, Devin Singletary to the Giants, Jeff Okudah to the Texans, Christian Wilkins to the Raiders, Gabe Davis to the Jaguars, Zach Moss to the Bengals, Tony Pollard to the Titans, DeAndre Swift to the Bears, and if we were still doing the stock buying and selling like we used to with Cade, buy stock in the Bears because they also just re-signed Jalen Johnson and picked up Kevin Byard, and they will also have the 1st and the 9th pick in the upcoming draft. So, Bears, buy stock. And then Saquon Barkley to the Eagles. And this one, also with that Zach Moss, they cut Joe Mixon, which is crazy. So Zach Moss will be in, I guess, as the immediate starter. Then so the Saquon Barkley to the Eagles. Tiki Barber said, "You're dead to us, Saquon. Good luck. You're dead to me." Saquon responded, "You've been a hater since I got to New York, and all that dead to me talk, don't smile in my face when you see me." It's heated. It is a heated little rivalry now. But Saquon's not the first guy to go to a division rival, so I don't think it's a huge deal. He got the deal that he deserves, and the Giants obviously weren't going to budge with that. So, shout out to Saquon. But with those type comments, he's already fitting in with Philly already. Then you get Russell Wilson to the Steelers and Kirk Cousins to the Falcons. Absolutely love that move. Throw $1 million on the Falcons winning the NFC South though. And then outside of that, T. Higgins requested a trade, so I don't know if he'll end up being signed somewhere by the time this uploads. But request a trade from the Cincinnati Bengals. He'll be a good one somewhere. And then Fletcher Cox retires. So alongside Jason Kelsey retiring last episode, Fletcher Cox retires now. Legendary career. If it wasn't for Saquon kind of saving their offseason, this would be the worst offseason you could imagine for the Eagles. It's been a weird offseason for any Eagles fans, I'm sure. Just an emotional roller coaster. So, to start wrapping this up a little bit, this is a quick episode, but teams that have already punched the ticket to the big dance. I'm going to throw up a graphic on here as of when I'm recording this. So, it'll be Monday the 11th. This will be up on Tuesday the 12th. But I will throw up a graphic of that from the March Madness Instagram, March Madness Men's Basketball. Go follow that. If you don't, then you're just doing something wrong. If you don't follow them, especially for March, you should follow them year-round. But one of the best social media platforms is March Madness Men's Basketball, so I'll throw that up there. And then I wanted to give a shout-out to James Madison. Let me pull up these records again. So, what a year it's been for James Madison. They've only been in FBS for 2 years now. They joined the Sun Belt 2 years ago. And in basketball, they just won the Sun Belt, making their first NCAA tournament since 2013. They're 31-3, 15-3 in conference. And then in football, they were 11-2, 7-1 in the Sun Belt, and they made their first bowl game ever. It's crazy. So football and basketball combined went 42-5 this year so far. It's crazy what they've been able to do. So shout out to James Madison, just absolutely balling on every level. And then I know it's a loss, but their girls team was the runner-up in the Sun Belt for women's basketball. So they're crazy. They're insane. I'm sure I haven't locked in on college baseball yet. I'll probably start to do that here in the next few weeks, but I'm sure they're elite in baseball too. So wouldn't be shocking to me. But to wrap this up, this was the quote from Sauce Gardner that he tweeted. My timeline looked like it's a Madden franchise going on, and that sums up all that NFL news. So I obviously can't there's gonna be so much stuff come out probably tomorrow, after I get done videoing this. But yeah, it's been wild. It's been crazy. So lastly, let me make my predictions for these Power 6 conference tournaments. So I will go with SEC first. I truly believe Tennessee will win that. I think that we might match up against them in it. I like how our bracket ended up because we don't have to end up playing like South Carolina, Arkansas's on the other side, Auburn's on the other side. So I kind of like how it laid out, but I think Tennessee will get that one. I think Tennessee's elite still. I know we won there, but so I got Tennessee for the SEC. Big 12, I'm going Houston. I just don't see a world where they get stopped. Like on Iowa State's court, I can see where Houston loses. If that's neutral site, I just don't see it. So I got them winning in Kansas City. I'll go Big 10. I'm actually taking Illinois. I think Purdue kind of like overlooks them. I mean, Illinois played them pretty well in the last game of the season for them. I think Illinois gets it done. I think Purdue's, I mean, they're dominating in the regular season, but I think Illinois can beat them. Marcus Domask, the way he's been playing, like any Coach Underwood's team, I love. So those are those three. ACC, I think Duke gets it done. It just feels like it's a storybook thing where North Carolina's going to take the regular season, Duke's going to take the postseason. Because like if Duke would have tied, if Duke would have won Saturday, they would have tied and been co-champions. So I think Duke's got a little chip on their shoulder, and they obviously have the talent to get that done. So I think Duke there. And then for the Pac-12, in a little debate in my head between Arizona or Colorado, repping Prime right now. But just in honor of him being one of my favorite NBA prospects, I loved him out of high school. Love Cody Williams to death. Eddie Lampkin, all the boys out there. In Boulder, I got them winning the Pac-12, so I'll go Colorado there. So I think that'll be. I think Tennessee would get the edge and they'd get the 1 seed at that point if they end up winning the SEC and Arizona does not. So that's my 5 for the Power 5, and then the Big East, UConn, man. UConn is a wagon. So that's my predictions there for that. Houston and UConn are the two best teams in America, and it's by a good margin. So that's why I think those. So recap that. I got Tennessee winning the SEC, Illinois winning the Big 10, Houston winning the Big 12, Colorado winning the Pac-12, Duke winning the ACC, and UConn winning the Big East. So that's my 6 right there. Comment who you all got, who you think is going to be the winner of all those different championships. So thank you all for tuning in once again. It's going to get exciting. It's championship week right now. And then this upcoming Sunday, when you all are watching this, Sunday the 17th, is Selection Sunday, the best day of the year. So thank you for tuning in. Throw some comments. Like the video. Subscribe. It's all greatly appreciated. So thank you. Have a great rest of the week, and peace.